Hello, Latina professional mamas. This is Adriana Samuels. I'm your host today, and I am grateful to be here. And I'm grateful to have this showcase with our dear friend, Tina Rodriguez. She's going to be teaching us all about combating imposter syndrome. Oh my goodness. Can't wait to hear about this. So far, we've talked about emotional well being. We've talked about prioritizing ourselves and nurturing ourselves. Ladies, I'm hoping that you have all taken it seriously and taken that little bit of time. Like I said, I had self care Sundays. Sundays are my days for the Lord and my family. I'm hoping you guys are finding that day for yourselves. So, without further ado, I wanted to introduce everyone to Miss Tina Rodriguez. Tina is a dear friend of Latina Professional Mamas. She's an author, and she is up for some amazing things that I'm going to let her talk about because she's going to talk about it so much better than I. So, Tina, please welcome, and please tell us all about yourself.
Thank you, Adriana. It's such a pleasure to be here again, this time as a guest speaker. Last time I was one of the participants engaging with you and the other Latina professionals. So it's great to be here with everybody today. So I am Doctora Tina Loarte Rodriguez. I am a nurse, but this is my second profession. I was an educator before I became a nurse. I identify as Afro-Latina Boricua from the Bronx, New York, living now in Connecticut with my husband, my beautiful children, my father, and our rescue puppies. We gotta love the fur babies too, right? They're part of the family. And so I am really just honored to be here talking about imposter syndrome, but also just here just to support everybody and ensuring that you know that you are valued, you are important, you are seen, you are recognized, and this community is here for you.
That's amazing, Tina. I love it. Thank you so much. I mean, I think this is a really important topic. And what brought you to that? Like, what made you want to speak on these particular items? What made you want to help women to combat this really? I don't know. We're fighting against ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it's all about. So tell us how you became such an expert in this field, and how can we stop the insanity, so to speak.
Yes, very good points. So it's actually been, a lifelong journey to get here. I grew up with a lot of strong women in my life, and they really modeled for me, you don't take, BS from anybody, and you have a right to speak up and be heard and be seen. And they really instilled in me the fact that women belong everywhere where decisions about people are being made. And I think that's something that's really lacking in society overall. And a couple of years ago, I started hearing, imposter syndrome and seeing the buzzword go around. And I was like, espérate, let me do some research on this. And, it's actually a term that came around in the late 70s, actually my birth year, 1978. And it's really interesting because it came about looking at a small sample of predominantly white, high income, high achieving women in their professional settings. And again, that structure, right? In my training, it's always about structure, process, outcomes. Well, in that structure and that system, right, it's designed to keep the woman. Oh, and there's the dogs. Is designed to keep the women, in a certain space to hold the power, And so they really try to make it feel as if we weren't able to be at the table. And we know the number of CEOs, right? And women's on boards is less than like 5%, which is ridiculous because we make up half the population and we're such a predominant part of the workforce. So it was really interesting for me, and how I look at it really is that imposter syndrome really is just another version of structural racism.
Yeah.
Right? Like the system that is created to do what it does, to keep people out of positions of power. And so I don't subscribe actually to the term, And what I really believe is that, again, we have the power and the expertise and the passion and the skills to do anything. It's just a matter if the system is set up to support us, to allow us the opportunity to learn, allow us the opportunity to grow and to make mistakes, right? Because that's how you
Yeah.
learn as well. And so I've always kind of countered people. It's like, nope, it's not imposter syndrome. It is, about the system that is messed up and broken, and you just you know, use your network, because that's very important. And another term I like to share too, which I feel is one that is very empowering, is that your network is your net worth, right?
Say it again, girl.
Yes, your
Say it.
network is your net worth.
Yes.
So we need to continue to, raise each other up, fix our crowns, making sure that as we continue to grow, that we're pulling people up behind us and opening doors for others as well. So that, again, this imposter syndrome, gets dissolved, and the systems, get broken down and fixed so that they're more equitable and more inclusive.
I think I love that. And I think that now having, a female vice president of the
Mm,
United States,
yep.
okay, I think, she is a minority.
Mm-hmm.
She is a kick butt woman,
Mm-hmm.
powerhouse. And I feel like she's opening doors, right? So
Right.
I don't think we have any more excuses.
Right.
As women of color, even though I'm translucent, there's color in there somewhere. I mean, there's just, at the end of the day, I think that sometimes you're right with these imposter syndromes. We can actually stop ourselves and place excuses where we really don't need the excuses anymore.
Right.
And I think that if we stop saying that, no, I can't, it's almost like, wait a second, hold my empanada and watch me. Like, seriously. At this point, it's about saying, move away from yourself, get out of your own way, and just do it.
Right.
Right? Because somebody else is watching. I mean, I have kids. We're Latina professional moms. We have children. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's not about being told no, we can't. It's about keeping on trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so tell me a little bit more. So, give me an experience. Give me an example
Yeah.
of where you prioritize this thought process and you
Mhm.
won from it. And then give us
Mhm.
another example of where, you know what, it didn't work, but you
Yeah.
learned from that too.
Oh,
So give us an
absolutely.
example.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, every mishap, is a lesson learned. And I don't like to call them failures. I just like to call them as opportunities and areas for continued development and growth. So, I thankfully have, I've never been quiet, right? But I definitely have learned to appreciate more of how to continue to navigate within the structures and the systems, right? So I learned that as a young professional at work, and knowing how to align myself with key leaders for when I was trying to get, a certain policy passed, or maybe some extra funding for an initiative that I wanted to support. And
Mm,
and definitely now, definitely, the budgets are like very tight, and I feel like they've always been very tight. But it's always a balancing act of trying to kind of negotiate that. And so I've always really ensured that I've approached people with the mentality of, we're partners, right? And we have a shared goal. So how are we going to connect to work on that goal? And sometimes in spaces where I was like, I had no experience and I haven't presented to a board before, or I haven't spoken up to the CFO, or I don't know all about accounting and balancing the spreadsheets, but I still have expertise, and I still have the passion and the commitment to partner with those other experts to figure out how collectively together we can get there. You know,
yeah.
I don't know all the answers, and I just surround myself with those who who have more expertise than me in those areas. And also working with those who traditionally might be seen as in opposition, because
Mm,
there's a lot that we have in common, even though there's some things that are fundamentally at odds. But I find, first and foremost, we're all humans.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be kind, let's be respectful,
Mm-hmm.
let's be curious, let's be open-minded. And let's just, have that conversation of like, hey, my opposition, can we meet for coffee? Because I just want to get to know a little bit more about this. Or would you help me understand why, you feel X, Y, and Z? And the conversation was very educational. It did help strengthen our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it did kind of help us again realize that we were aligned on many key factors. And then with that alignment, we were able to find consensus and compromise on some things, which then eventually helped, move a lot more of both of our kind of wishes forward. A time where I learned is definitely, trying to come in as if I had all the answers, and
Mm-hmm.
how I, was, the expert in the room, right? Like, we know how that feels when people try to mansplain us or, something else. Like, so you have to know your audience. You have to understand the constraints of the situation. But you definitely want to ensure that you know your facts, right? Come prepared. But at the same time, you definitely want to stay humbled and also stay on target with the goal. And if the conversation detours from that, it's okay to be like, all right, we're gonna pause and maybe we can get back together again, when we have a little bit more time to process and to figure out, next steps. And it's okay to be like, all right, we're gonna take that break right now.
That's always good. I'm really bad with that break,
Hmm.
because I think I don't know if it's the New Yorker in me that I'm just very reactive. Like, excuse me, okay, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go. But I've learned that as I've gotten older, that pause is super important because that gives an opportunity for collaboration. It gives an opportunity to learn,
Yeah.
and to almost take that minute and say, okay, this might be a different situation or a different conversation altogether, and
Right.
I might need a moment to kind of say,
Mhm.
okay, let's reevaluate what this issue truly is.
Right. Right. And I
Because
think that's a good point, right? Always going back to what truly is the question or the situation at hand. Because a
yeah,
lot, again, we're human. We have a lot of emotion and passion. And sometimes they do overpower us. But just giving ourselves, that time to pause, collect ourselves, and go back to like what truly is the priority here, what is the goal, and that refocus helps a lot.
I think it's so important. I mean, one thing I really think about this is, being a Latina, also being a professional mama, working and momming and doing it feels like everything. You tend to be a little bit more sensitive, not only about time,
Mm,
but you're sensitive about certain situations, right? Because you realize certain things, and at least I know before I had children that there was a me before children that was
right.
more like, I'm going to rule the world, right? I'm it. I got this. Then you become a mom, and you're like, holy crap, like it becomes your priorities change,
Yeah.
and things become a little bit more open in your eyes. But I do find that sometimes I'm the one standing in my own way. Like
Mm,
it's either my okay, I have to get this done because, I have to show that I'm stronger than the male counterpart because
mm,
he doesn't have a family, he's younger. You know what I mean? So it's that questioning of who I am
yeah.
versus everybody else in the room. But you know what? I mean, as soon as I started taking that moment and saying, no, I have so much to offer, in this situation as well. Now,
Right.
someone that doesn't have children and is a male has something to offer the situation as well, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But my perspective as a professional mom, because I think of things differently and I'm looking at things in different light, together we can come up with solutions that might work for a lot more people than just our sector.
Right.
their sector, and it stops becoming them, us versus everything, and it starts becoming a what's going to work for a lot more people.
Exactly.
Well, we need the diversity.
Of course.
You
And
know?
I think within that, like even as you were talking, again, it just for me goes back to the structure, right? Like the women had to be like the home attendant, the homemaker, the
Mhm.
mom at home. And traditionally we're getting paid less than the males. We
Mhm.
have to work twice as hard for half the
Mhm.
pay, for half the recognition, for half the titles.
Mhm.
And it's really that structure that has kept us down. And in that, it's always us feeling like, what am I not doing? Or what else do I have to do? Versus it's the structure that is
Mhm.
not allowing us to fully rise up.
Mhm.
And another key piece that I find that I have to check myself on a lot too is in my role of mom and wife, right? Like I don't have anybody else's image to live up to
Mhm.
except my children's and my
Mhm.
husband's. So that if I don't cook a home cooked meal 7 days out of the week, that's okay because they're still being fed and they still got love and they still get nourishment.
Mhm.
If I have to outsource some other responsibilities to help make time for me to take care of myself and me to take care of the family and for me also to thrive in my professional world, then I'll do that. And thankfully I have been able to raise within my profession to have that financial security to do so, right? But that sometimes not everybody has that, right?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the pay scale out there is still not in our favor for so many of us working mamas.
Mhm.
But even with that, like we always have our village,
Yeah.
like we can barter. It's always about, okay, who's going to pick up this week or who can help with, this fundraiser. So
Mhm.
know again, like your network is your net worth. And
Yeah.
know that, you are not alone. You're not doing it all by yourself. Connect with, your other hermanas and in your
Mhm.
town or at your job, in your family, definitely,
Yeah.
and other places and find that support that's going to be able to help you find harmony with all
Mhm.
your priorities.
Oh, that's so good, Tina. You know, it's I'm looking at Emma's message, and she kind of hit my heart a little bit because
Mm,
she wrote, "I tend to not mention I'm a parent in professional settings because I worry about judgment."
mm,
And that was me about 5 years ago. Because again, I was in my mind where I want to be a CEO one day, and I gotta, be head to head with the men, and I gotta travel, and who's
right.
gonna let me go to Europe and all these other places as a mom? Well, you know what? My past CEO was a woman. Well, she is a woman, Dr. Leila Mentes. And let me tell you, I went to a couple of sports vetting events, and she was on panels, and
Mm,
she talked very intelligently about sports, head to head with the males, and
nice.
she totally talked about her daughters on the stage with a bunch of men,
Hmm.
talking about being a mom, working, and she's a CEO.
Hmm.
So I felt that, and I was like, whoa. And I had just had my son,
Oh,
and I legitimately had him and was on a conference call that night, and then traveled a couple of weeks later.
yeah.
And nobody knew I was pregnant because I'm curvy, so it just came all around instead of being, just the boobs. It's just like a complete circle. Nobody knew. But you know what? After that meeting, I realized it's all in my freaking head.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Yeah, there are gonna be some of those people. What they're gonna be, but
right.
you know what? If
Yeah.
you rise above it,
Hmm.
God gave us who we are, our
Hmm.
intelligence, our families, our
Hmm.
importance. We're here for a purpose,
Right.
right? And maybe that purpose is getting on that panel, and maybe it's getting into that board and saying, "Yeah, you know what? I have a goldfish down my bra right now because my daughter threw it in there." But you know what? I'm going to be head to head. I know the financials.
That's
I know
right.
where we're going to go. And let me tell you how we're going to get there.
And you have a snack for later.
Exactly. I got more than you do. You know what I mean? And as much as it sounds silly, that's what we need to do. We need
Right.
to laugh at ourselves and stop this imposter. Like, you're right. Like, when you have to get out of your own head,
Yes.
get out of your own way. You know what?
Remove it.
I have kids.
That's right.
I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I know, okay, I might be afraid to go for that role. No, I'm not afraid anymore, because you know what? I baked children. Okay,
I'm raising humans.
I'm raising humans. I'm raising dogs. I'm doing all these different things, and I'm still going to work. I'm
Yeah.
still bringing home the money. And you know what? There's nothing I can't do. So
That's
no, I'm gonna get that title. I'm
right.
gonna go for it, and I'm gonna know my worth.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like the structure, as somebody had put in the chat too, like the structures and society and everything makes us feel like we have to have 150% of all the requirements before we apply for that position or go in to ask for that raise.
No.
No, the
Mm-mm.
men
Go
do
for
it. The men, somebody said 65%. Sometimes I feel like it's less than that.
Yeah.
The men have like no relevant experience and they apply and boom, they're getting hired. Like, what? How does that make sense? And it's
It
like,
doesn't.
no.
I think we should all challenge each other in
Yes.
2024.
Yes.
Ladies, whoever's watching, whoever's here, challenge yourself.
Yes.
If you want that next role, go for it.
Yes.
And if you need any of us to support you, reach out. And if
Yeah.
we got to cheer behind you, we'll do it. If we need to have a wine night and just talk about it and be there for you to interview, if you want us to read something, if you want to
Yes.
look at something, I mean, we have to work with each other to kind of push us to the next level, because at the end of the day, we are only stopping ourselves.
Right.
So no more. I mean, I think we just got to stop.
Yeah,
We
I
just
love
got to
it.
stop. So
Yeah,
that's our 2024. Let's
Yep.
just take it away. Let's not see we're limitless. The limitless Latina professional mamas.
Yes.
There are no limits.
2024. Love it.
2024 is the limitless month. I'm sorry, year. Woo! I'm not giving us a month. No, we need a whole year to get this done.
And
And
again,
it might go into 2025.
there you go. It's for
2026.
future.
We're gonna have female presidents. Watch.
Mhm.
We're gonna have a female president one day, and
Yep.
you know, just watch out. I mean, I think it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And I challenge everybody, you know, stop using the word imposter syndrome. Take it out of your vocabulary. If people start mentioning it, be like, nope, sorry, that's a false narrative. It's just racist systems that are in place to keep us out of positions of power. So
Exactly.
you know, this is going to change. And you know, like Adriana said, we are here to support you, right? Like we feel free to reach out and say, hey, I have this resume, can you look at it? Or you know, could we do an interview prep, right? Because that's all it is just continuing to hone those skills.
Yes.
And building that confidence and knowing that, you know, we need to be everywhere doing everything, and we can do it.
Yes, we can. Like, you can. You're up for what? Hold on, you're a finalist. Come on, Tina. Come on, tell us about the finalists. Come on.
My goodness. So because of the book launch, Latinas in Nursing, I have just been really empowered to continue to elevate the stories of women, but particularly because I'm a nurse now, Latina nurses. But it's not to say that none of y'all can write your own stories and get your books published too. So whatever your specialty is, like, you can be out there putting your story out onto paper so that other people can read it. But with that journey, I realized that there needs to be more platforms for our voices to be heard. And nurse.org is actually running a competition right now for 10 of their next podcast hosts. And so I am one of 71 finalists for the competition. But thankfully, I have jumped from number 14 to number 3 over the last week. And voting, I know, I was, again, your network is your net worth. Yes. My people are, you know, are out there helping me out. I'm like, thank you. I even got the kids. I'm like, kids, let's go. Spread this to your friends and your schools and your social circles. But voting ends on November 13th. And so, you know, just a little under a week left. And so if you can, if you have a minute to just go onto that site and find the podcast link, I most appreciate everybody's time to submit a vote for me.
Yes, and I just added it to the chat, ladies. So let's support each other. And I do see Monica's looking for some support. We have a network of women here. So
Absolutely,
please,
Monica.
and Monica, when it comes to the disability, we could always think of some ways from thinking about customer service. I
Mhm.
know I'm in iGaming and sports betting. So I know there's a lot of opportunities for chatting, right? So anything with communications via chat. You don't have to talk to anyone on the phone. We're in a very technical world right now. So, always think outside of the box. Like, what is your superpower and find a way to make money doing it, right?
Right, right.
Um, yeah, go
And
ahead.
just to piggyback of that with my experience in as a nurse and in healthcare compliance, like if you have a medical diagnosis for that disability, that provides you so many other protections.
Hmm.
So, it's definitely something that you can look into in terms of getting that diagnosis um, sheet from your provider, and then working with the HR to say, I have a disability, I need these accommodations, and they should be able to do that.
Absolutely. I think
Oh,
that's fantastic.
yeah.
And everyone that is here listening, I think it's really important that we work with each other and we communicate to each other. This is an open forum, so if you have input, if you have questions, if you feel that one of these women you can support, mentor each other.
Yeah.
If there's someone in the chat that you feel attracted to in a way that's not understanding, something that they wrote, reach out. Tina did that, and now she's
Yep.
here
Yep.
communicating, combating imposter syndrome. You
Mhm.
never really know the connection you can make. And I feel that this forum, this opportunity for all of us to work together to the next levels. If you are afraid about an interview, host it. Let's talk about
Mhm.
it. I
Mhm.
bet you, I know there's so many women in our Latina professional mamas, and as well as Latina professionals that are experts in resume writing, or there's so many different meetings that we've done about interviewing.
Mhm.
So there's a network. So utilize us to its fullest potential. We are here for you. We are here to empower you. We
Yeah.
want this place to be a place where you could BITCH if you need to, if you need to yell, scream, if you're angry and you need to just let it go. Yes, we are here for you. If you're
Absolutely.
looking for the next level and you want to, you're just having babies and now you're going back to the workforce, we understand. We've all been there. Talk to us. We are here for you. And remember, ladies, please, 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 you are a superwoman. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You're a great mother, amazing mother. You're an amazing worker. Give yourself a break. Remember, there's going to be some times you're going to need to turn that phone off.
Mhm.
Okay? Turn that phone off. Have your glass of water, have your tea. Give yourself that time to reboot. Give yourself a break. That little imposter in your back of your head telling you that you can't do it. Shut that person up.
Yep. Do
Don't
not
need them in your
disturb.
Exactly. Don't need them in your life. If
Yep.
they're not fulfilling you, then they don't need to be in that beautiful brain of yours. You guys are amazing. And I want each and every one of you to know that we love you and we are here for you. I did put Tina's links in the chats. Please support each other. Vote for her. Vote
Thank
for
you.
her. Look at her book. Again, we need to support each other. So if there's things that you're looking into do, starting new businesses, becoming a CEO of your own business, you want to come onto this platform and talk about it, let's talk about it. If you know about self-care, you know about the ins and outs of prioritizing anything, because I can't prioritize anything. If you whatever you're good at, talk to me. Let's talk about it to others, because I guarantee you
Mhm.
someone's looking for that information. And if
Yep.
we can't provide it to each other, come on, it's going to be Dr. Google. And we all know Dr. Google lies. It's all about the pay right there with Dr. Google. We love Dr. Google, trust me. Love Dr. Google, but sometimes the information is confusing. And we just need people, right?
Mhm.
We just need people talking to us. So,
Yeah.
Tina, thank you so, 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 so
Oh,
much for
my
joining.
honor.
And thank you for sharing this wonderful book with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck to you. We are all going to vote for you. I know I already did. So I'm
Thank
going to
you.
keep my eyes out. And as you grow, I hope we get to have you here again and you can tell us all
Yes,
the great news of what you're
I
doing.
would love to. Yes, most definitely. And actually, I just wanted to highlight something because Judy put in a really, I think, powerful statement that it's definitely a lot is going on in the world right now,
Mm,
and so much of that is outside of our control, but what we can control is ensuring that we're taking care of ourselves, that we are practicing gratitude to ensure that, we recognize the gifts that we have, and then just continue to, use your voice to help any way possible those who are in need of it, right? Like our voice is powerful, so keep using it.
Exactly. Our voice is powerful, but if we don't say anything, then nothing can. I mean, we can bitch about it all day long, right? But if we're not going to be a part of the solution, or even try to make steps of being the change, like walk in what you believe in, walk in your faith, walk in whatever you, if you believe in saving all the animals, then start with one. You started with two. Like, be the change we want to see in the world.
Yeah.
Whatever the change is, because if there's enough of us just making dents in the world and making changes, then nothing's going to stop us.
That's right.
And I think and Melanie, you're re-entering the workforce. You go, girl. Wear the milk well. If you have a little extra food in your bra, don't worry about it. Like Tina said, it's just a snack for later. We're all good. Wear it well. You're going to be wonderful. If you need any advice, we're always here for you.
We're here for you.
Cheering you on.
You got this.
Yeah, get it, girl. Go make that money. And then talk about it on vacation with a mojito.
That's right.
Woohoo! Ladies, I love you all so much. Have an amazing November. And I'll be putting in another segment soon. I don't even know what we're going to talk about next. I would love some suggestions. Please put it in the chat, because you might even be chosen for the next session to talk to me and talk to our lovely Latina professional mamas. We love you. Looking forward to some suggestions for our next segment. Let's talk soon. Love you, ladies. Kisses.
Cuídense.